Damned! Hey, Grius! Grius! Damn it! Louise!
Alphys.
The sun sets on old fossils. It is a new dawn, and its light shines upon Lord Luis's king. Stand down! Damned meddlers. So your wish is to die, is it? Your bones will be monuments to Lord Luis's glory!
No! He defiles the dead!
Ah, but Lord Luis has sent me here on an important errand.
What errand?
It seems I'll need considerable time to accumulate the magla. Until it's done, however, I'm afraid I'll have to borrow the Cathedral. The day the King's morning ends will become the day of calamity. If you mean to interfere, then die.
Stand strong! The souls of the dead do not return. He manipulates them as puppets with foul magic!
Brace yourselves, everyone!
And this is why we need a healer. It's undead time!
Yes. What is this? What the hell is this?
Stroll, get a hold of yourself. We've got company.
What am I supposed to do? Got to stay calm. Calm. Damn it, I can't focus.
So yeah, right after our plan went horribly wrong and Grius got his throat slit, we're introduced to the anxiety status. Fitting time. Party members have a chance to be inflicted with anxiety when you're ambushed or when they receive a critical hit or have a weakness hit. Also, if they hit an enemy's immunity, they also have a chance to get anxious. If you play Digital Devil Saga, and I will be saying that a lot, this works very similarly to Fear in that game, but its effect is different. Allies afflicted with anxiety will be unable to control archetype skills, and attacks against them won't consume enemy turn icons. So that would be terrifying were it not for the fact the AI is usually too dumb to focus all their attacks on the person who's anxious. Because if they did, they'd have nearly endless turns.
Sorry about that. I'll be alright.
Here they come. Brace yourselves.
As seen here. Yeah, Deadeye Stance is that accuracy charge that I talked about earlier. It's pretty rare in your hands. It's mostly an enemy thing. Oh, none of them even went for Stroll.
Keep the enemies off him.
Yeah, speaking of the AI being dumb, so we have a bunch of Sword Malmortar and Spear Malmortar.
Jeez, they're pretty tough. Better be careful.
Skeletons in this game are typically weak to either strike or light attacks. So, let's go for Hummer. Yep, one of them's already down. Stroll can't actually use his archetype right now, and if he does actually go for an attack, there's a good chance that... No, he still went for it, yeah. I think sometimes you can be paralyzed with anxiety. I'll go for one of the healthier Malmortars. We know the spear ones are weak to it, but the sword ones should also be weak to it. This game does go by common weaknesses on certain enemy types. It's kind of a cool nod to the fact that skeletons in Dungeons & Dragons are often weak to bludgeoning damage, so yeah, they should be weak to strike here. And Stroll's anxiety is gone. Speaking of bludgeoning damage... Yeah, we got a different animation there. That's a sign that that's a weakness hit, and we don't even need to spend MP for it.
Try some of this.
Oh, that's a crit too, because we got a different animation there. This fight is actually going insanely well. It normally doesn't go this well. Normally, they pile on Stroll while he's anxious, or they also crit people. So yeah, that was uncharacteristically good fight.
Where'd that man go?
Yes, so just as soon as we lose our own Scotsman, a new evil Scotsman has entered the story.
Did he take soldiers into the cathedral?
There should be a mausoleum nearby. Could you take his body there?
Yes, right away.
Take care with him, please. He was a dear friend. He gave his all for the king. For the royal bloodline. The least he deserves is dignity in death. My name is Hulkenberg. I have a question for you. That power you wield is not something they teach in the army. You are no ordinary soldier.
And you? You're clearly more than a guard captain.
I am a knight in the Crown's service. Commanding the guard is not my station's duty, but these are dire times.
A knight?
And you pretend at soldiery. But that matter can wait. Alsace seemed to know you.
Who is Alsace?
We'll have time for debate after we apprehend that mage. He's after the royal scepter, I'm sure of it.
The royal scepter?
Please, someone, help! Please help. I've still got family inside.
Did he trap civilians in the cathedral?
Yeah, here's another aspect where as much as Luis and his faction might talk big about making a more free and equal society, they also openly do things like this. Trapping a bunch of civilians in the cathedral, not caring about them. Also, he just straight up dropped that giant human corpse on a bunch of people. Like he didn't really give them time to run away. And the fact that we know that he's letting villages be destroyed just to prop up the threat of the humans.
Yes, my family, and more.
I don't envy their chances if he finds them helpless.
I am honor-bound as a knight to answer that plea. I would ask your aid as well, if you might give it.
Does it not tarnish the Royal Knights to enlist the aid of strangers?
I haven't the luxury of refusing able fighters.
It's funny how Hulkenberg's essentially our commander right now. I mean, she does outrank us pretty much.
If I turn back here, I'd never be able to face Grius. Any objections?
Don't word it that way, because that makes it sound like other M.
None that would stop you, I expect.
Also, I love that line.
You know me so well already. Let's just watch out for those accursed skeletons.
Yeah, literally accursed. So yeah, it makes sense for the cleric archetype to be effective against undead. That's also the job of, well, actually, it's not technically cleric yet, but yeah, healer. It's basically based on the whole archetype of the cleric or, like, the priest in RPGs, and, it makes sense for it to be good against undead, because that's typically how they work alongside healing.
No.
Noble scripture, okay. We are actually a little damaged right now, but I'm feeling confident enough to not heal at the moment.
Over here!
Also, I love this song so much. This is the theme of the Resolute Grand Cathedral, which will be our first dungeon, and it's just so good. It just has that classic, like, high fantasy vibe. It gives me an even slight Fire Emblem feeling.
This is bad.
Well, some kind of route just got blocked. I guess they're just making excuses not to add Hulkenberg to our party right now.
Damn it.
I shall ascend from here. I love the way she talks.
All right.
Just, I gotta praise this translation for actually keeping a lot of that kind of, you know, medieval fantasy feel, but not going so over the top with it that you can't, like, understand what anybody's saying. Like, it's not, I was about to say, use the example of Shakespeare, it's not like full-on Shakespeare. At the same time, though, Shakespeare is like, I don't think Shakespeare is as incomprehensible as most people think. There's a skeleton right next to me, isn't there? Aha, they tried to ambush me through the barrels, but I got wise to it. Ah, interesting. So yeah, as Galaga shows, weaknesses do apply outside of combat. and these skeletons are already weak enough to be defeated in the field. However, Healer has a much shorter range than what we're used to. No, Stroller got a level out of that. We can go up here, but does that really mean that we want to? Hi, Skelly.
You hit him right at the weak spot. Good job.
Oh, we do, because there's just a chest here.
We found something.
Look at that.
Breeze Igniter. So, I said earlier that Igniters were now useless to us. I was, kind of exaggerating. Igniters can be equipped to give you one magic skill. And because none of us have Seeker at the moment, that might not be a bad idea to actually, put on someone. Let's go, who has the better magic right now? Stroll by 1 point. Okay, yeah, the Noble's Crest isn't doing anything, so I may as well put the Igniter on him. So yeah, let us take that. And yeah, there are a bunch of items there. Like the chandelier has just collapsed here. Just reminds me of, I was watching a video on like various Dungeons and Dragons genres, and people said that if any combat involves a chandelier, the genre is probably swashbuckling. I actually just saw that Antonio Banderas Zorro movie on TV recently, so that reminded me of that. But I wouldn't call this the swashbuckling genre. It's more like, it's funny. Like, I kind of disagree with the definition of heroic fantasy that a lot of things give. Let's just say medieval fantasy for now. So, okay, we've got more of these Sword Mount Mortar, Spear Mount Mortar. I love that little shield bane taunt that they do. Don't even have the info on you yet. Oh yeah, I guess you guys are considered separate enemies, the ones we just fought in that tutorial. So, okay, as usual, he's gonna run up to the 4 because I stay in the back row on the, like, outside of battle because there's no reason not to. Goodbye. Oh, you know what? Let's try a Diagonal Slash. I haven't even spent any MP so far. Yeah, these things are pretty weak. That should have been Unscathed Triumph. Yes, it was. It's about a 20% boost to your battle spoils. I just noticed that you'll see Gallica in her armor whenever you're in a sort of a battle-focused area, and she'll be in her civilian outfit when you're in a city. On the loading screens, I mean. What organization do we belong to? We would belong to the organization of the only people who actually give a damn about regular citizens in this world.
Understood.
I mean, we were in the state army, but we shouldn't tell them that, because the last person who was, you know, a former commander in the state army tried to kill us, and that's not exactly public knowledge at the moment. Okay, there are going to be some more skellies. Hello there. Ow. Yep, just got a smack in the face right there. But yeah, I knew there was an enemy there. I wasn't sure how close it was, but let's just go ahead and grab these. Purified Tea Cake, Magla Pill, and Vitamin Relaxant. The Magla Pill is an MP recovery item. Hello there. I pressed the wrong button. Trails Muscle Memory. That's the problem with playing so many games that have a very similar semi-action system on the field, turn-based in battle. Battle system with the same controller. I'm using a PS4 controller for this, by the way. Oh, right. There's an archer here. So I want to be a little careful about this because the archer, yeah, you'll see the area that he's aiming for on the field screen there, so you can try and dodge it that way. They're not going to be shooting at you constantly. It takes some time for them to wind up their shots. But yeah, my PS4 controller has probably seen more use on PC than the actual PS4 at this point. Granted, I do miss console games. If I owned this game on a home console, I'd probably be playing it on that, because like, I have a pretty good TV. I miss playing games on TV, and I kind of like the freedom to actually be doing something else, like listening to a live stream on my computer while I'm playing a game. And that's harder to do when I mean, you know, I had to turn the volume on the PC game down way more if I am... You know, I like how I sheathe the sword when going to the menu screen, if I am playing a game on the computer. So, we got a new staff for the mage, so I want to check out what that does. Yeah, the ivory staff, let's see. +2 magic. That is strike element, so it is still effective against undead, but healer's a little more useful to me against him at this point. Also got more power on its weapon. Yeah, that is one aspect of the healer archetype. Its melee weapons typically have higher power than those of mage.
Okay.
But the mage weapons do have bonus effects that typically boost your magic damage, so it is a trade-off.
Thank goodness.
Healer's kind of a bit of an odd merger of magical and physical offense, which actually might make it one of the better classes at this point if you're going for a mixed stat build on the protagonist.
No.
Thank you.
I mean, it's good to know that there are some decent soldiers in this country, though. Ones that we can actually entrust to kids' protection, at least hopefully. Balm of Life, just like in the Persona, and I think sometimes Shin Megami Tensei series, that is a revive and a full heal. Also, Health Incense, that would be a stat booster. And that's why it was actually kind of hard for me to find the, like, final stats at level 99 of every party member in this game. I like how you can see which door's actually been opened, so you know which way is forward. Because, yeah, I couldn't use the stats from my completed save file of my first playthrough, because there you know what, I'm gonna actually go for a medi here. Oh, we have the exact same HP. We are true bros. Because I had used some stat boosters in that file. And also you get other stat bonuses when you master archetypes, so yeah.
Everything all right?
Eventually, I found a data mine from some prominent speedrunners at this game, like Champion Beef. That guy's awesome. Watch his speedruns if you haven't, though you'll be spoiled in this entire game if you watch the Metaphor speedrun, so maybe save that till later.
No.
I did study that speedrun quite a bit when preparing for this playthrough. But yeah, and also the stats at level 99 are in the Metaphor guidebook as well, and I cross-referenced them and they do match the ones from the data mine.
I see.
The data mine was how I found out the power levels of every skill in the game, though. I really appreciate the Metaphor community for actually making that information public instead of locking it behind members-only Discords, which is just something that kind of sucks about there being, you know, forums kind of dying these days.
And then...
I mean, yeah, which mad subordinate are you referring to? He has quite a lot of those.
Onward.
One thing that I do find interesting is that via his reactions, Luis himself was surprised at the king's magic. He didn't foresee that. He just expected to jump in, make a show of force, and get everybody to just decide to make him king. But it turns out that the king in his dying breath has instilled the power of democracy on this world. That said, there's still a very real threat of Luis being democratically elected if we're not careful.
Yes.
And we also have Forden, the leader of the Sanctus Church, in the running, and, well, he probably won't be a great option either. But that's a worry for another day. Let's just focus on saving the people from this disaster for now.
Look at that.
What's become of this place? Is that Magla? And in a building like this?
It's just like in the abandoned mines.
What was that sound?
Brace yourselves. It's collapsing.
For the second time today.
Look, the entrance.
Damn it! Now how are we supposed to get inside?
We'll not be getting in this way. That collapse was no accident. He means to hold our advance. Best to seek another way. And I've a plan to do it.
Mind sharing that with us?
The plan's more than I have. Right. Lead the way.
Before we go any further, I would have my answers. We must speak of the man Luis executed.
So, were you a friend to Grius?
Yes. I knew him as Alsace. Arthur Alsace. He'd been engaged as a tutor to His Royal Highness. teaching him swordsmanship at the king's behest.
That does line up with what we know about him.
I wouldn't have expected you to know him.
Yes. Well, it was back when I myself was serving as one of His Highness's personal guards.
You might have noticed a red-haired soldier in that scene of the prince being attacked, and that red-haired soldier was in fact based on Hulkenberg's early design, back when this game was still called Project ReFantazio.
You're a personal guard for the prince.
I was. Now he is lost to me. Which brings me to the heart of my concern. I hope you can give me the answer I seek. Why were you trying to kill Luis?
Well,
Revenge. The assassination is for His Highness. To avenge his death.
Well, yeah, Stroll just jumping in there with the mostly true answer.
Revenge?
Not just for the prince. Luis killed the king as well.
Alsace was a calculating man. Callous, where softer hearts falter. He was not some wild-eyed revolutionary, driven by petty emotion. Why would such a man sacrifice all in the name of revenge?
And already she's seeing holes in our story. Remember that she knew Grius personally, and we didn't actually know him all that well.
Who knows? Is that all you wanted to know then?
If nothing else, you were friends of Alsace. Once more, I would humbly request your blades at my side.
That is one thing, though, about Stroll that I really like about him. He is a lot shrewder than you might think. He's actually a pretty smooth operator when it comes to people skills and knowing exactly what to say.
I'd think you'd find surer allies among the guard.
You saw for yourself their failings today. A legion may be easily divided. A squad of few elites, however, moves as one.
Hulkenberg summing up the advantages of JRPG parties.
I'll have us into the Grand Cathedral. I know the way. Will you assist me?
Naturally. How about you?
Of course.
Right. Not much point in asking, really.
Oi! Where's the state army?
I can't believe all the mess at the king's funeral. Our country's doomed, isn't it?
Pretty chaotic here.
With good reason. I was there, and even I struggled to grasp the situation.
Oh, you're back.
Oh no, this won't end well.
Have you seen Maria?
Maria? She's missing.
She heard the commotion and ran off. She can't have gotten far.
Oi, Fabienne! We found Maria!
Maria!
Don't move her. She suffered a blow to the head.
She must have been caught in the wave of people fleeing. Poor girl.
She's unconscious, but I don't believe it's life-threatening.
Ah, but he'll be along soon, won't he?
I'm sorry.
I was prepared for the worst, but... Oh.
Damn it. Fabienne's taking care of Maria. Sounds like she'll have to stay put and rest for a while.
Aren't there people still left inside? Most of the soldiers sent in to help haven't returned. I expect Luis's forces made short work of them. No one's sure if that human's corpse is safe either, so it's just been left to rot.
Underground, there is a mausoleum where the dead are interred. It opens to the Grand Cathedral on the other side.
And we can trust your word, can we? How do we even get into this mausoleum?
There's a gate just beside the recruitment center. We'll make our way in from there.
So that's what that gate was.
Right. Let's hurry.
Is it the first time we're hearing this music? This is the true Grand Trad theme, and it's like equal parts ominous and also just, well, grand sounding. At this point, we can check our approval rating in the current election by pressing the L1 button. And yeah, mag will be accumulated daily at the Coronation Rock. So don't worry about missing days of this. Yeah, you'll collect every day you've missed just by touching the rock once. So go to the rock whenever you need more mag. Thou art but a nameless wretch. I will say, don't worry too much about the popularity rank. There are ways you can influence it going up, but it's mostly story-driven. This game doesn't really have any, like, multiple endings based on what your popularity rank is. But it does get you more mag at the election rock if you check here, for example. Well, the Coronation Rock, that's what it's called. I mean, the people in this world don't really know what an election is. This is likely the first time I've actually had one, but still.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's another fairly big face here, but we have no idea who that is at this point.
Yep.
And it looks like we aren't even able to collect any mag from our placing right now. So yeah, there's a lot of commotion over there, and people are going fuss, but I really just want to get on with the main story at this point because, well, that's kind of important. How much money do I have at this point? Still can't buy an anxiety cure. If you had that, you could have cured Stroll's anxiety in that tutorial fight. Now, I want to say if you go back here, you can actually see an interesting interaction. Yes, here it is! This mysterious man we met before is now actually meeting up with his mother. And she's calling him Cuculus. But that's not updating his name tag just yet. Due in Matira soon, a dull, gloomy place. Well, we'll have to keep that in mind for later, because that's likely when we'll next be running into you. But yeah, as cynical as he was, that guy does care about his mother.
Alright then.
And we can actually fast travel now, including to any shops we've been to before, in case you want to restock your equipment, but I think I'm good. So yeah, let's go back to the Resolute Grand Cathedral, because the entrance to the mausoleum is like right near the fast travel point. So, let's head right there. Also, get used to people being incredulous. They say that a lot during this arc. I'm just incredulous.
All right.
Well,
Even so.
Oh boy, don't worry. The dead have already been plenty disturbed.
I'm a little worried.
So this right here is effectively the entrance to a dungeon, but we're not going to be heading very deep in here in this session. But if you need to, you can go back to Academia and get some archetypes on Will or Stroll.
What now?
Once again, though, I'd recommend saving before entering.
Look.
ready?
Let's go crypt delving. Yeah, heading to a mausoleum while there's a necromancer running amok is probably not a great idea, but it is our only option. Everywhere else is caved in.
Onward.
So down here, in the mausoleum, you will see a whole bunch of chests on the map. Do not worry about them just yet. You will not be able to do anything about these for quite some time. And I do mean quite some time. These are actually not even relevant to the first dungeon, the Grand Cathedral. Instead, our only option is to head to this door, and that black fog coming out means we have a boss fight.
Yeah.
And another one of these magla crystals.
What's going on? We can't get through the door.
Strange as he is, that pale fellow's magic works. Good for rooting out the rats.
That blasted mage set a trap. Not surprising. We knew he was expecting us.
And you still fell for it? At least you'll be in good company.
I can't be.
No way.
Alsace. Alsace, stop it! Why would you die for revenge of all things? The man I fought beside was not so ruled by anger and malice. Alsace, tell me, please. Is this the price of my failure, then? The prince, for having lost him, you too would abandon me. Why did you leave me alone in the dark when you escaped with his highness? I have sought him for so many years to no avail, and now I... Of course. 'Tis only just that you be the one to send me to him now.
Get up! Fight!
I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
No! You have it wrong!
The prince is alive!
Hey!
He's right. We do hunt Luis, but not for revenge. We mean to lift the prince's curse.
Is that true? His highness is still...
Yes, he lives. So you have to keep fighting!
You mean, if that's true, then I... O lodestar who wanders in solemn duty, O thou anguished traveler. Thy long stagnant stance hath finally been broken. Now choose thy path.
Now my new calling, transcending all oaths, I choose life of my own will!
Thank you. Thou hast chosen a noble parting. Henceforth, thy fears and insecurities become thy light. Thou art the brilliant star that shall illuminate the King's Road. Now, awaken.
My name is Aislinn Pacelli Majal Hulkenberg. I am knight, I am commander, and last of the honor guard! Once more, I take up arms in my liege's name! They'll not break my defenses.
As you'd expect from someone whose name roughly means massive castle, Hulkenberg is the tank of the party, and the first truly specialized stat build among them. She is all about endurance and strength. Her HP is pretty good, but not as good as Grius. Yeah, even though he was temporary, I wasn't kidding when I said he had the best HP and MP of the party. But she'll carry on his legacy as the party tank, and do it even better with access to the knight archetype. But unlike the rest of the party so far, Hulkenberg is very slow. So don't expect her to go first in battle, and especially don't expect her to dodge tank. But she's not entirely min-maxed. Her magic and luck are still fairly solid. Magic's only 1 point lower than Stroll's, in fact. This means that, just like him, don't be afraid to give her magic archetypes. Unlike Stroll though, there's another reason you want to give her these beyond the elemental coverage. Because now I can finally talk about this. Every party member has an ultimate archetype. This archetype is unlocked by maxing their follower bond and achieving certain masteries on other archetypes that are specific to each character. I didn't talk about this earlier because Grius obviously doesn't have one, and that would have spoiled his death. You don't have to go for these ultimate archetypes, but if the idea of a 15% chance to repel anything, and in a press turn game that will kill the enemy's entire turn, appeals to you, then there's a chance you might want Hulkenberg's. And for that reason, I'm going to list the requirements for each party member as they join, so if you want to make a start on leveling these archetypes early, you can. And Hulkenberg's are weird, because not only does she require the Knight line, as you would expect, but she also requires getting pretty deep into the Mage line, including level 15 into Elemental Master. Not an archetype that I think is especially optimal on Hulkenberg, and that is one issue with the ultimate archetype system. It can force playstyles on certain characters that you might not want. Though granted, this game does have ways of leveling archetypes without actually using them, which I'll be covering later. But as for archetypes not on this list that I think are good on Hulkenberg, Healer is great to make her a tank that also keeps you alive, and Commander will make her a tank that also buffs you. You could even go for the debuff archetype introduced later. Really any support skills are good to inherit onto Hulkenberg's Knight line. No matter what archetype she's in, Hulkenberg will fulfill her role as ultimate bodyguard.
Knight!
The Knight archetype is, as you'd expect, the game's tank class, and on the higher difficulties, or if you're new to the game, you will most certainly want one. It's the first archetype we've got so far to have a physical resistance, at the cost of its heavy armor conducting electricity. Its main stat boost is Endurance, and just like Mage's magic buff is enough to make anyone an at least serviceable caster, this makes even the flimsiest of party members serviceable tanks, while making Hulkenberg even better at that job. But its strength boost is mediocre for a physical class, though it has an equal boost to magic. But with its agility and luck, don't expect many dodges or criticals. The hero passive is a roughly 1/3 chance to reflect enemy attacks in field combat. Unlike Warrior, this can trigger even if you aren't attacking. Being a chance-based effect, I wouldn't use this on Will for its hero passive. But you might want to use it if you're going for a tanky build, because at the start it gets Knight's Proclamation, drawing the enemy's attention for 1 turn. Now, something that might not be obvious about this, always use this from the back row. The attack will still be drawn to you and you'll take less damage. Noble Resolve halves damage taken when ambushed, which is an actually useful skill since enemy ambushes are not bugged like yours are. First Aid at rank 4 is interesting. It's a weak heal only usable from the menu, in other words outside of combat, but it's very cheap in terms of MP. In fact, combine it with the Mage's hero passive and you can easily get your party topped up on both HP and MP. Ironclad Bond is another of those same lineage resonance abilities, and though it goes up to a 50% damage reduction, that's a party of 4 knights, which I would say is overkill. Remember that these skills do count yourself though, you'll always get at least the 10%. At rank 12 you get Guard Lore, which is this game's equivalent of Auto Rakukaja. The buff will wear off in 3 turns, but a lot of regular battles won't last that long anyway, and this makes Knight's Proclamation even better. And at rank 20 you get an actual damaging move. Yeah, if you want attacking skills on Knight, you'll need to inherit them from other archetypes. Shield Art is a fairly strong strike attack for its cost, and it's an agility debuff. The Knight archetype is required not just for its own higher tier classes, but also for the very strong physical attacker Berserker, making it worth it for that alone. And also Dragoon. This is the ultimate gunner archetype that I don't think is very good, but one of the party members needs it for their ultimate archetype, so you have to get it anyway. Let's take my mind off that with synthesis skills. I can finally talk about these as we're about to unlock that mechanic. All of Knight's synthesis skills only require one other party member. Jump Thrust is fairly strong but also debuffs defense. Hammer of Justice is our first weakness adding skill. These are incredibly good. Temporary weaknesses override any resistance or immunity the enemy would have in that element, and last until you exploit them once. But you can always set them up again, and Hammer of Justice being a pierce attack that creates a pierce weakness makes it one of these skills that, as I like to say, combos into itself. With enough MP, enough available turns, and a brawler in the party, which is an archetype we'll be getting very soon, you can get endless weakness hits on the same enemy. An important thing to note about weakness generation skills is the weakness they create always has a damage multiplier of 1.5 times, overriding any higher multipliers on that element. This isn't relevant in the majority of cases, but there's one major boss fight where it is, so keep that in mind. Protect Guard is a weird synthesis skill. I don't know if 2 press turns is enough to only give one party member a barrier, and it's not even a reflect barrier like Tetrakarn. Magic Guard is better in my mind, as it covers more elements and protects an entire row, but it's also a lot more expensive. You'll also need a more magically slanted party, which you'll probably have if you've got a magic build will. Overall, Knight synthesis skills aren't the greatest in the world, but Hammer of Justice being your first weakness generator is great.
Alcest, I will see you freed.
For the liege I am sworn to, in his royal name, with this power, I shall open the way! Alcest, 'tis almost finished.
I'm sensing a huge surge of power. Hang on. It almost seems like the 2 archetypes are resonating with each other.
Finally, we can use synthesis skills. Special cooperative skills available according to the party's channeled archetypes. Access them by pressing X on a party member's turn. In order to perform any synthesis skill, a second party member with a specific archetype channeled is necessary. For example, Knight and Brawler or Knight and Warrior. Synthesis skills consume the collaborator's turn icon in addition to the active character's turn icon, and some of them require 3 characters. If you've played Digital Devil Saga, as I keep saying, synthesis skills work almost exactly like combo skills in that game. And the game will tell you what synthesis skills are available with your current party. So by pressing X, we have access to Jump Thrust, lowers defense, Protect Guard, and Magic Guard. These are thanks to me having a healer in the party. Magic Guard's not going to be useful for this. Oh, before I do anything, let's actually show Undead Grius' stats. I haven't been great about doing that with bosses so far. So we could also use Knight's Proclamation, and I think I want to show that off before I go for synthesis. As I said in the bio, make sure you do this from the back row. Aha! Stroll now has access to the synthesis skill, Round Slash. But it's an AoE physical attack, so I think I might not want to go for... you know what? Why not? Let's go.
Let my power support you.
Round Slash! Yeah, that's a little better than some other attacks.
Is that all?
Yeah, the Knight archetype resisting Slash, which is the majority of Undead Grius' attacks, that's going to help out here. My only synthesis skill here is Medica, a medium HP recovery, which I don't think I need right now, so Let's see how much Hummer does. Being an undead, he is weak to that, though being a zombie and not a skeleton, he is not weak to strike. But now that I've used up one icon, I guess I can kind of show this off. So I'll go to the front to increase my melee damage. So jump thrust. It doesn't matter if that icon is blinking, like as if it's a half turn or if it's a full turn, it's still going to be consumed the same for synthesis. So let's go for jump thrust.
Counting on you.
To debuff his defense here. I'll show these animations the first time, but they are skillable. Remember that synthesis skills can miss. Okay, I'm gonna pull you back, and I am going to pass my turn so that I can hit him with another Hummer. That'll probably do more damage than Stroll attacking. Yeah, he still has access to Phantom Dance, even as an enemy. I might actually need the Medica soon, though, so let's see. I could go for another jump thrust and lower his defense even more, but you know what? I'm going to go for the Knight's Proclamation again. So that, okay, let's go Diagonal Slash. Oh, that's actually doing about as much as that synthesis skill did before. Well, I mean, it's with a that's with a defense debuff, though. But, yeah, that was the synthesis skill. I don't have, like, the exact power levels of each one memorized, but it's not the most powerful of those. That will come later. I think for now, yeah, I think I can afford to use a fairy. I mean, granted... Okay, no, let's actually go ahead and use a medicine on Will, because Hulkenberg's taking the majority of attacks. Well, she's taking all the attacks this turn. And she should hopefully be fine. Okay, back to you, Stroll. Okay, and I'm going next on Will. Let's see. It's about to wear off that debuff. I think I'm actually gonna go... Pass my turn, you Hummer, which is going to turn my other one into a blinking turn there. Let's go for another jump thrust. So, this isn't, like, actually relevant, right? Okay, you know what? I'm actually going to pass Stroll's turn and go for a Medi here. This is not actually super relevant right now, but if you hit a weakness or get a critical with a synthesis skill, it will turn all used turns for that skill blinking, unless they're already blinking in the first place, like my last turn there. You know what? I might actually be able to finish him this turn if I play my cards right. Okay, defense fell. Or can I? Let's see. I'm sorry, like I said, I'm bad at reading the exact HP bars in this game. That could be enough to finish you with one more Hummer. Hopefully it is. It is! Nice!
His Highness and Maria's home. I leave them in your hands. We'll do as you ask, friend. I swear it.
The thing that I like about the fantasy genre is people being able to be resurrected as undead means that you can actually get some real extra tragic closure to the deaths of important characters like this. I mean, him entrusting us to Maria and His Highness with his last words would be one thing, but us having to put down his rampaging corpse that then entrusts us with that's even more powerful.
I feel stronger.
Okay, let's go for more... I mean, I'm actually getting a good amount of use out of magic, but you might notice I'm still doing solid magic damage even without investing in it, so let's go for more strength.
Rest now, Alsace. We will protect Maria and His Royal Highness.
Oh. Isn't this crystal just like what we saw in the abandoned mine? It gives me the same nasty feeling. Come on. Let's just destroy it.
Thankfully, we don't need any kind of special blade to do it. It's just
First he
gone.
wakes the dead, and now this bizarre object. This man is dangerous and must be stopped.
You said you were a royal knight, didn't you? Were you there? On the night the prince was attacked?
Yes, though I was the least among the Order then. We saw His Highness afflicted with a horrific curse. But soon after, he mysteriously vanished. Alsace was one of His Highness's closest confidants when he disappeared. I'd wondered if they were both lost to us.
But I could see it when we told you the truth. You believed the prince was alive, didn't you?
I'd left my post to wander the land. A search party, at least in intent. News of the king's demise brought me back. Thence, we met.
Yeah, that would explain that scene we saw with you earlier.
Now, onward. 'Tis nothing. Let us go.
Don't tis nothing me. You took a hard hit early on. Let's head back for now.
Yeah, don't tis nothing me. This isn't Tales of Symphonia after all.
But...
We've come this far, so he'll be looking to buy time. It's just as you advised before. We can't rush in if we're to see this through. What say you? We can withdraw for now, right?
Yes. We should head back.
I'll trust your judgment. Homeward, then.
Homeward. Let's go.